Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Discussion Corner with Favor. Today, the 21st of June 2020. Happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers out there. Today, we are having the Father's Day edition. We're going to be learning more about fatherhood and also to celebrate our daddies, both the people joining us and all the fathers at home. Today we have to celebrate this day with us with Elder Paul Eze Oguru. Thank you so much, Daddy, for joining us on the program today. And I also have Mr. Femi James. He's a young daddy. Daddy is a big daddy. And then we have a young daddy to represent the young daddies. So today we are also going to be joined by Mr. Femi James. Thank you so much, daddies, for joining us on the show today. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Femi, we can hear you. I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, I just saw that now. It's been unmuted.
Okay. Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, Daddy. Let's start with Daddy Paul. So, Daddy, you're going to be telling us, how long have you been married for?
That's a very wonderful question. By the special grace of God, my marriage has been on for about 4 decades plus.
4 decades.
And
wow.
4 decades plus, yeah.
That's a long time.
When I say 4 decades, I'm talking about 40-something years.
Yes.
Yes, and it still looks like yesterday.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the last of my children is at 27 now, so you can imagine when it started and how it has been.
Yeah, congratulations, Daddy. Want to be like you when we grow up.
God bless you. God bless you. I hope you can keep up the fires that come on, you know.
Okay, back to you, Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi, how long have you been married? Hello? Okay, Mr. Femi, network is a problem. So, Daddy, let's continue with you. I want to ask, what is fatherhood?
Fatherhood, that's a very, it's a broad-based question, because fatherhood is all about the family. It's all about humans, because right from the word go, God created Adam, and from Adam he created the woman. Man was created for the glory of God, and woman for the glory of man. So you can understand there that God made a point there by making man to be in charge of all that he created, because man represents that things of God, that when we say something, we ought to understand that man, as a matter of fact, has something to do with creation. I hope that takes you somewhere. Hello?
Hello, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah, I say I hope that takes you somewhere.
Yes, it does. I think the question now should be, is it anyone who gets married and gives birth that becomes a father automatically, or there are some attributes that makes one a father?
The moment you get married, that leads you into the process of fatherhood. Just marrying a wife does not put you at the point where you say that fatherhood has been accomplished. Now, there are so many things involved in it. What are those things? God created man to procreate. So, in the first place, yes, fatherhood is not all about father, mother, and children. Fatherhood has a very wide spectrum of activities to do. Because wherever you find yourself and you get married, you automatically begin to father those who are your biological children and those who are not your biological children. So it cuts across. It's not just your biological children that makes you a father. A father is supposed to be somebody in charge who makes sure that things move in the right direction for people around you. And the moment you are able to take care of people other than your biological children, you are really practicing that fatherhood and you are doing what God expects you to do as a human being, because we are created for a purpose and that purpose must be achieved. So when you are under that kind of position, when you get married, automatically the responsibility is not only within your nuclear family, but outside that family of yours, where things will be seen that you are a father. You can do this for people, you can do that, you can do this. That is exactly what makes you to be a father.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, Mr. Femi, how long have you
Yes,
been married for?
I'm married for 6 years.
Hmm, 6 years. You don't even look it. You look like
uh,
you just started
like
with
I married
the.
last month.
Yeah, exactly. So, how has the journey been for you, fatherhood?
Well, well, it's been tasking, it's been fun, and it's been demanding, really. But to the glory of God, it's been fine. That's all I can say. It's been wonderful. We are still
Well,
growing because looking at that now, of course, I can say we have not started at all. Four
yeah.
decades is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So, when did you start? Did you start seeing yourself as a father the moment your first baby came, or you've been seeing yourself as a father even before her arrival?
It's actually before because of course I started making plans and preparations for when they will start coming. I have two children now, and so um, it's not been easy really, but we thank God. It's not just the financial aspect, but bringing them up, God's way, them working in their purpose. It's not easy, but and because of the society we are in, requires the father to be up and doing and to be really responsible in giving the children the best. So far it's been wonderful with God on our side.
Hmm. Thank God to that. So, Daddy, um, you your marriage has been a long time, so we can't be comparing it to the weddings, the marriages of the 20s or the late 90s. But in as much as you've been married for long, you were really a very busy person as well. As a father, you had to do all your businesses and traveling and stuff. At this moment, are there times you stay and you feel like there were certain things you were supposed to do for your kids while they were growing up that you weren't able to do, and you just feel, can we just go back to those days so that I do those things? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Are there things that you wish you did for your kids when they were much younger that you didn't do?
I when I look back at the inception of the family biologically, I I don't know. By the grace of God, we had to do a lot of things that today, when I look back at them, I just believe it's the grace of God. Because, like you said, I was always on the move. But I can tell you that the grace of God afforded me the opportunity to really give my children what I should have given to them. There is something that is so important and that is bringing them up in the fear of the Lord. We made sure that from their early stage, they attended catechism classes where they were taught about God, about the church. Because in the catechism classes, like the first questions they ask the children in the catechism classes, who made you? And you say, God made us, and why did he make you? So from there, those little things we think are little, they are very great, because I know that what they learned within that period through the church has kept them going on. And what happened during their early stages too, we made sure they had the best of the education around us at that time. Honestly, my children attended Catholic schools at that time, and you can attest to the quality of Catholic education. They mix the education with the things of God, and my children grew up with that. And my wife was not left out of this business. She gave them a motherly care. She disciplined them because she came from a disciplined family. The father was such a disciplinarian, that she brought that, inculcated it to the children, and the children grew up with that. So with my own aspect of taking care of them, my wife was very, very supportive to what happened to the children at that early age. So the issue of bringing up a child is not the father's job alone. If the mother is absent of that training or that bringing up, then something will be missing somewhere, because children learn more from their mother than the father. But all I did was that I was kind of making sure that what needs to be done had to be done. But at the ground level, who takes care, who does it? Their mother. And so they follow things, and that was how we. So today, when I look back what I did for them, I didn't regret it at all, because one thing was that I made sure that whatever they needed, they could go out there, put on nice dresses, and if they can go to school, they went to good schools, and we never had a moment of regret as far as that aspect is concerned. So when I look back today and say, well, what am I missing that I didn't give to them at that time? I wouldn't say much was missing, but of course you cannot have it 100%.
Yeah. Okay, Daddy, thank you. Mr. Femi, as a young dad, what is your greatest fear?
Yes. Yeah. My greatest fear. It's very extreme. Actually, it's I can't help my children. Maybe health-wise, whatever situation. I'm picturing they're in a bad situation and I can't salvage the situation. That's my greatest fear.
Hmm. God help us. we'll,
Amen.
we'll all get there.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
Daddy, you didn't marry from your tribe. Your wife came from a different place, and
Yes.
I know that one of your sons also married from your wife's side as well. So I want to ask, are there times when you feel that, okay, maybe your kids were learning more of the things from their father's side, or learning more from the things of their mother's side, or was it balanced? You were in the picture when it comes to your tradition and everything, and then you were, like mostly kids tend to learn more from their mom because they spend more time with them, especially when you, like they say, mother tongue. the language of the woman is usually what the kids most times are familiar with. Or not okay, oftentimes are familiar with. So did you at any point feel okay because the kids were spending more time with their mom while you were on the move? Did you feel that they would not learn more of the things from your side, or everything was balanced?
Well, I must confess here that there was some kind of a missing link. But you see, marriage is all about God's own making. So it really didn't matter where you get a wife from. What matters is the love there, because love breaks every barrier. Love breaks, tribal sentiments, breaks, whatever. So whatever you think the whole thing is all about, like you said, the woman takes the brunt, makes sure that things move in the house. The father is usually not always present there or something. But the point is that when you look at what happened, there was a balance. She never impressed the culture of their own people on my children. No, she didn't do that. She was taking it on the side of, we are together here doing these things, and that was how we went on. In fact, we never came to terms with any difference of any sort, that would lead to that kind of a thing. So if that had to be, then it could have been a different thing. But automatically we were living, and of course, like we said, things will go the way. Children learn faster from their mother than the father. And then you discover that whatever the mother implants on them at that point in time gives rise to whatever that should be. But I tell you that, like you rightly pointed out, her language is different from my own. And but she blended into my own language more than I did on her own side. But the language did not even come to take precedence over that of my family. Well, most of the time, we were busy speaking English language, and children in Lagos at that time fell into that scenario where you discover that children were even not allowed to speak vernacular. They call it vernacular in the schools and everything, and that thing hit us. That's one area that we regret today. How I wish we never bought that idea of talking about calling our languages vernacular, and then placing English on top of it. But all the same, whether you learned English or not, it didn't, stop them from their education. The cultural values, we try to keep them. We try to make sure we enforce them. Enforcing them means showing them that this is what we do. Like, of course, we go to village meetings, we go home during the Christmas period, they see what happens in the village, and we were making sure these things were covered, So that aspect of it, culturally, put them on track. And so we never thought of changing the ideas of what they have and what they learn from the school. Because as at that time, the schools were teaching them everything English, And then we'll try and see what we can do to equalize the pressure. It's a pressure, so we need to equalize it. And what were we doing at that time? We tried to speak part of it, but like my wife did, she did on her own to learn the language of where she found herself as a wife in the home.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Femi, did you marry from your tribe?
Yes, I did.
Oh, so yours is easier. So yours is easier then.
Well, that has us. No, it doesn't matter. you marrying from the same tribe does not guarantee you having a good marriage. I don't think so. Be with from any tribe, so that's just it. But
Okay,
yes, I married from my tribe.
do you think you're being a good dad to your children, or do you sometimes wish that you could do more?
Well, so far, based on
Your network is breaking. Your line is
who I
breaking.
am at the moment, I think I'm giving them the best.
Oh, you think you're giving them the best at the moment? Network. Okay, back to you, Daddy. Um, Sometimes I hear a lot of fathers say,
And everything around. I think they keep getting it.
okay. Sometimes I hear some fathers say that mothers and fathers put heads together to train the children, and when they get married, especially the girls, when they get married, when they are coming back, they buy wrappers for their mom, buy her jewelries, buy her so many things, give her money, but they just buy a bottle of wine for their father. I don't know if you've experienced that, or you have anything to say about that, or your kids, are they different? Like when they come back, they buy the same thing for you and mommy and all that.
Well, you see, while we were in Lagos, Cardinal Emeritus Koje, he said something someday. He was giving us a homily in one of the liturgical celebrations. And he said when a boy goes to school and comes with the first position, the father will say, "That's my boy. That's my boy."
Like father, like
Well,
son.
yes, if the same child, for one reason or the other, takes the last position in the class and comes home, the father will say, "That's the mother. He took after his mother." Uh, what we are seeing now is these children, when we were growing up, we grew up with that mentality. We thought more of our mothers than our fathers. I don't know the reason. That when we even begin to work, your first salary will be to
Viral.
buy wrapper for your mom. You're not even thinking of a shirt for your father. I don't know why it was like that. The affection was so much that we cared each time we grew up in Lagos, each time you want to go home, you don't even say you want to go and see your father. You say you want to go and visit home to see your mom. And each time they even ask you, people don't even ask you, how is your father? It's, how's your mom? How is your mom? How is she doing? Then your dad could be a later question to be asked. What we are seeing now, I think the children are growing differently. These days are days of giving cards, card everywhere. They believe, what am I going to give to my father? What am I going to? Sometimes they bring perfumes or whatever, Like my daughter some time ago with the mother, they had to, when she went, they traveled to London, she had to buy me some shirts, They didn't even ask me what my size was, and I took those shirts, The same thing my daughter does. But like you said, my sons, what they do, they go and buy me wine, as if I'm what you people call apa na mmanya. So, and you discover that I will keep it. until when there is an occasion for me to give it to somebody, because for how many years now, the last time I touched something like beer or brandy or whiskey was how many years ago? Since 1989.
Wow.
I never tested any of those things till date. What I took after some time was some wine and palm wine, and after a little while now, for over how many, I have not tested any of those things, and I don't regret not testing them anymore. It's part of things that when you're growing, when you bring in the spiritual aspect of your life, you discover that what controls you, the prophet has something within the prophet, the prophets, you really need to control what is in you through the spirit of the living God, So those things are what I try to bring about, that children are different. Both men and women, they do things differently. They don't do it the same way. So, but they still care because they are seeing what you did in the past. Maybe they're towing the line. But the situation is changing, These days, I can imagine that some of them can even send you a message through the WhatsApp or whatever and wish you a very happy birthday. And sometimes they believe that, oh, let's give them a surprise, and you discover that things are happening and you just walk into it. Like myself, I'm not a very good at celebrating birthdays, and permit me to say that, I wish people were when they do it, but it doesn't cross my mind to say, look, I must do this, this is my birthday. I believe every day is the same, but that particular day, I know it's a special day that God gave you the permission or the privilege to come into the world. If you feel like celebrating it, I know that when a child is born, you discover that there is also an exit point. There is an entry point and there is an exit point. So what is more important is not the entry point, but the exit point. Who you are at that point in time when you are exiting is very, very important. So what happened in between the entry and exit points is that's what determines what the exit will be like.
Okay, Daddy. Okay, so Mr. Femi, I'm coming back to you now, not as a father, but as a son. So, do you act the way Daddy has just said? Like, maybe when you're going home, remember to
Yes.
buy all the things for your mom, and then you just buy maybe a bottle of
Okay.
bottle of is it
All
schnapp?
right.
What do they call it? The hot drink. Then you buy for your dad, and then you buy wrappers and other things for your mom. Are you one of those sons? I can't hear you.
Yeah. It's
Is that
actually
an
cultural, I most times I said most times it's usually monetary. Give them money a lot of times. And I give my father more money than I do to my mom.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
you hear
that's
me?
that's nice. Very few persons do that. Yes, I can. Very few persons do that because I think kids are more attached to their mom. They do more for their mom than they do for their dad.
Uh,
And like they
in
say,
my case,
daughters are always very close to their fathers. I don't know if that's true. Is that true? Are daughters really close to their dad more than they are to their mom?
Yes, I not really, not really, because from experience, My daughters spend more time with their mother. They could abandon you when they come together and they're in another room discussing, and you cannot break into that discussion until they are through. I can't imagine myself entering into a discussion with my daughters alone, and my wife is not there. No, it's not. I don't see it happening. But it happens with them that even sometimes I can even leave them in the house, and then if I have something pressing to do outside, I will leave them and go, and they can't be bothered that I have gone. They continue with their discussion. Their talks are very lengthy. They discuss so many things. Particularly, what my wife does with them is that she tries. My wife is a very, very good cook. In fact, when the parents were alive, the father, when I was going to marry my wife, she said, "Look, you are taking the best of my children." I don't know why he said that. And I didn't understand it. It was later on that, of course, my wife cooks like my grandmother. My grandmother, the village used to celebrate her food. They must pass through to eat my grandmother's food. And I was the darling of my grandmother. She used to call me Dinia. That's the husband of the mother.
Mm.
And my wife, cooks so much, so good that can I say, spoiling you with the food, particularly where she comes from as well.
Yes, I was going to
Uh,
say that. I think that's
yes,
also a plus.
because they cook quite good food. The people from Akwa Ibom,
No
she is
problem.
an Ibibio. Yeah, she's from Ibibio. And they do a lot of cleanliness is part of their life. They keep things clean. The environment is clean, the food is good. And that's part of the things. Maybe people say a lot of things about them. These are the things they do to win a man, to win somebody. Your environment is clean, the food is good. I mean, you will always love to be back home. And that's it. So all those things, my children learned how to do the cooking. In fact, my daughters, the two of them, that I have, oh my goodness, they just do the same thing like my
Your
wife.
wife.
When they cook, they follow that, trend. And it's been wonderful, when you eat their food as well. So, but when you talk of the daughter or father, let me tell you something. For the men, it's difficult for you and your son, except you're going to discuss policy matters. But to sit down and begin to gist, it's not possible. It's not just there. Everybody will be on his business. But women, they have the time. They have the time. Even I believe when they even sit down and they are discussing, they could even be discussing you, their father. And, yeah, you wouldn't know. They wouldn't tell you. Uh-huh. But for the men, it's just business, sharp, sharp. And whatever we want to discuss, we discuss. If there's an argument, we end it up there. And everybody finds his own level. So that's the much we do. In fact, if it's not for things that are concrete, you sit down to say, "Come, son, let's discuss this matter." But for the women, they could sit down, pass away time, say one thing or the other, and that's it. But for the men, it's really, really, really difficult. Because does not mean
Oh,
we do not communicate. We communicate, but short communications. Much of the
Shut
time
up.
is with mother and children. But I tell you something again. The mothers also spend more time with the men than like between me and them. They still have time for their mothers. So
Daddy,
that's the
don't
way I
don't
see
you
it.
think? Don't you think it's because you are like the busy type? maybe because you don't always have that much time to be there. Because Mr. Femi has been nodding his head since, like when I said daughters are closer to their daddies, he nodded, and now I said maybe because you're busy, he's also nodding, and I think his case is different. So, Mr. Femi, let's hear you. Are your kids really that close to you compared to how close they are to their mom?
Yes, they are closer to me than their mom. And well, maybe because I'm the playful type in quotes. I
Oh,
play with them a lot. Their mom does not have that. She's the
serious type.
strict, not strict, but she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't. I play a lot with them. Yeah, a lot. So they a lot of time want to spend time with me than their mom.
That's
They
nice.
wake up, the first thing is, where's my dad? That's the first thing you hear.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And you've been giving them that time. I think that also
yeah,
helps if you give them time when they are younger. I think it
no.
helps to bring them really close to you.
Like sometimes when outside the house, I'll make sure I do a video call. I know once they're with their mom, do a video call just to speak with them, even when I'm within town. So I do that a lot every day, every day.
New generation
So
daddy.
yeah,
Lost.
So I think everyone should be learning. There are certain things you can actually do to be close to your kids. Not because so many men complain about kids being really close to their mom compared to how close they are to their dad. And I think it's because if you don't give room for that, you won't get it. Some fathers are very strict, and kids don't like the ones that are strict. They want to go to the one that is always petting them. So if you're strict, not like you won't be strict. I hope you understand what I mean. Anyways, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you have to be disciplined enough and discipline them when they do things. But at the same time, you also have to be free with them in order to make them come to you. That's why so many kids don't tell their fathers what is wrong with them because
Yeah.
they are always afraid. Daddy would flog me, daddy would punish me, daddy would do this, daddy would do that. So let's hear your journey of fatherhood so far. Daddy, how has your journey been so far?
Uh, my journey.
Yes.
Yes, when you talk of the journey, it's a journey of 40 something years, and it has not been it has not been all that smooth sailing. Smooth sailing in the sense that when the children were growing up, you can't believe it. There was a certain time in Lagos. In one single day, I had uh, I had three of them in three different hospitals
Wow.
for one thing or the other.
Wow.
And you can imagine the stress of the day. And God pulled me through. So we went through those times very, you know, it's very traumatizing, you know. I remember one time my one of my sons, you know, it was on a Sunday. We came back from church, and I was there holding him, and my wife was cooking in the kitchen. And the next thing I saw, he picked up this sharpener, you know, the sharpener with metal, you know, blade in it. And my daughter said, "Look, Daddy is playing with it." Well, I ignored it. The next thing I saw, he put it in his mouth.
Whoa.
And I
Wow.
now rushed to get it out. You know, swallowed it.
Oh.
You can imagine what that situation will be like. I had a brother, one
Wow.
brother Malaki, who came visiting that day. My car was parked downstairs. We rushed out. Our company doctor was living beside us. Immediately, we alerted her. She came and said, no, 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 take this child to the general hospital. Don't go to a private hospital. So we drove. As I was driving back, my car was relatively new at that time. The door was bashed at the gate. We just held it and drove to the general hospital. In fact, we drove like James Bond, And when we got to the general hospital, Ikeja General Hospital, the nurse or who was on duty was asking the other one, is Dr. So around? Has he come? I said, is this what I'm going to hear here? Whether doctor we snatched my baby from her and we proceeded to Ikeja Allen Avenue, the one hospital called Duro Soloye Hospital, And as we were just going in there, as God would have it, the doctor was there. Another female doctor who was coming back from church saw what was happening, left her car, barefooted, rushed in. They took my child in, and myself, my wife, and my brother. We made 3 altars, because each of us were praying differently. We belong to the charismatic renewal, So we were praying differently that day. So after some minutes, one of the nurses came out and said, look, the God you are worshiping is a living God. They did everything to carry out a surgery on this boy, but all of a sudden, what happened? The procedures they were carrying out, the sharpener came out, and
Oh,
they
thank God.
just pulled it, and of course, the trachea and what have you, everything. There were a lot of damages, that very day, but he was on oxygen, and after some time, they came out and stabilized him, and they later discharged us and said it's not something that they should keep the child there. So that's what I'm trying to say here is that there are a lot of things, so many things on our way. That is not the only, I'm just pointing this out, that things could go this way. So bringing up children is not an easy job. It's not an easy way. So not to talk of our own, my wife, one thing or the other, family pressure here and there, When I say family pressure, you discover that despite your own immediate family, you need to attend to other family members the way we grew up, And that's what keeps the family circle together, because your problem should be their problem, and their problem should also be your problem, Like when my first child was coming up, barely how many months, my wife got admission to study in London. So my child was left behind while she went because she needed that admission. And having spent some time with my aunt in Festac Village, he was now taken to London to meet my wife in Portsmouth. And even when he got there, he was not able to stay with my wife because my wife cannot keep him and be going to school. So we had to put him with a family in Portsmouth who took care of him until my wife finished her education, and then we went and a drama happened the day we were going to take the boy. Because when we got there, that's my first son, the couple told us, well, why don't you go make another baby? This is our baby now. They almost took the child from us, And
Wow.
yeah, it almost went that way, because when they discovered they could not hold back the boy, the day we were going to pick him, do you know what the couple did? They were not at home. They couldn't stand the sight of my son
Taking
leaving
child.
them, because they have
Oh.
become so attached. I remember one of my visiting days from Nigeria. When I got there, I said, this boy wants. He said, no, he's had his fair share of the food. You can't be feeding him anyhow, I said, but that's my son. He said, no, 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 no. We have the way we do things, you know. And you can imagine when they dropped the boy instead of coming to us, ran back to the woman, you know. They were
that
retired
must
naval personnel, yeah. So that's to tell you some of the things we have been through in life. What the experiences, but we thank God in all we succeeded in coming out of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Fatherhood is a great journey.
That's
Mr.
right.
Femi, are there times your kids have
Wow.
your baby? Okay, the second one is still very little. So let's talk about the older one. Has she ever put you in a position where
Yeah.
you got confused, you didn't know what to do,
Yes.
and at that moment you were thinking, if I don't do this right, would this baby judge me in the future? Like Daddy said when Tom swallowed the sharpener. Have you ever had
Yeah.
a tough time like that? Not necessarily sharpener, but any other
Yeah.
thing
Yeah. I
that
guess.
could have.
Well, no, so far, no, nothing as serious as what Daddy mentioned. Is a mild sicknesses and all that will not make one run mental in quotes, because the situation Daddy mentioned is really a serious one. Can put one
Yeah.
off balance. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, but so far there hasn't been anything that serious. So we give God thanks. But the journey is still far anyway.
So
uh,
how has your journey been?
when you ask me how has my journey been, and I'm looking at Daddy, where do I start from? I'll just say I have not started.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Daddy has gone 40 years plus. You're just starting.
Yeah.
Daddy has a story. You definitely have a story, but at the same time, there are also you could say between um when I got married and now, or when I started I'm having babies and now, this is how the journey has been for me and stuff like that.
Yes, yes, I understand. Compared to Daddy's years, I'm just writing the introduction of my own book. So, well, just like Daddy has said, although yes, I'm still young in marriage, but there is pressure really from it's that from my family. There's also that from my wife's family too. And just like Daddy has said, when you start bringing up a family, it's not just your immediate family, not just you, your wife, and the kids. You have external people to attend to also. And a lot of times, those external people might even be the one, giving you headache, kind of. They are the one putting you on the run, not even your immediate family, and you still have to attend to that. So even as young as I am, still, yes, I still have to attend to my nuclear
External.
family as well as my extended family. Yes, so just like I've said, we are still starting and still learning. Then it's not easy. We are still incorporating, my wife and myself, trying to. I can't compare the years Daddy have spent with mommy. I'm very sure they'll still be having misunderstanding somehow, even if it's little.
Mm.
So, and you can imagine the years they spent together. So I'm just starting. So some misunderstandings here and there sometimes, and external families trying to balance things up. It's not easy, but then taking one day at a time, I think really helps.
I want you people to understand that I'm just one person. I can't speak for everybody. That is just one person representing all the fathers who have been there for several decades. And you are
Mm.
representing young daddies. And I'm just one person sitting down here trying to tell you how much we appreciate all you do for us. You people are our main heroes. We appreciate you. We love you. We celebrate you in as much as we try to celebrate the mothers more. It's not like we celebrate them more, but because they are very emotional. You know those people. We are called women. On your birthday, we could just buy you perfume and you would appreciate. But you see these mothers, if you don't buy them wrapper, call them, make cake, do a surprise birthday party, all those things, they will start looking at you like you don't love them. So for the fact that we do all these things doesn't mean that we don't love you as much as we love them. You people are our heroes. We love you. We appreciate you for all the sacrifices you made, for and you still make, for all the times you stood by us. Mothers sometimes, not like mothers, kids sometimes they know what you have done. They know all the things you do because we know that you're the ones that pay school fees. We know you're the ones that provide the food. We know that you're the only thing that we carry on our heads is the fact that mommy carried us in her womb for 9 months. And oftentimes, when you try to offend her, she will remind you how she suffered, how she became fat because of you, how her face turned dark when she was fair, all those things. So I just want to use this day on behalf of all the children out there to celebrate you, tell you that we love you so much. We are grateful for you. We pray that God Almighty will continue to bless you. And we hope that a day would come when you will really understand that we really love you so much and it's for real and not just for the saying we love you. Thank you so much, daddies, for joining us on the program today. We really appreciate you. God bless you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, just a little thing before we go.
Yes, sir.
You said something that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with
The step.
A step.
a step. When we were on one of our trips, one of our elders, to be precise, President Olusegun Obasanjo, he said that he doesn't believe in this. It's a Chinese adage, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. He said, no, he doesn't agree with it. And I said, Baba, why don't you agree with it? He said, okay, let me tell you. I want to go to Bagbalada, and I am facing Kubwa. And then I make the first step, and I'm heading towards Kubwa. Can I ever get to Bagbalada? I said, Daddy, Baba, not true. So okay, this is the right thing to say, that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step in the right direction. And yes, so it has to be in the right direction. And secondly, can I tell you something about the family setup? It's a game where when you fight to fight another day. I had my late in-law. He said, when you see two people driving in a car, man and woman, and they are laughing, going and coming, he said, go and check it very well. Something is not right there. I said, why? He said, if you know what it takes to get a family together, just tell Mama John or Mama Emeka or Mama Who that there's a wedding for 10 o'clock. And then you can imagine when you will leave home. By the time you now get set to go, you find yourself in the car, waiting in the car. And Mama Emeka is still waiting inside, doing one thing or the other. By the time she gets into the car, she will discover that the handbag she is carrying does not match the shoe. She goes back to change it. As if that is not enough. Coming with the right handbag, right shoes, she gets into the car, say, oh, I have not told them what to cook before we come back. She goes to take care of that. So you can imagine, and you are there, you look at the time, it's already past 10. You'll be boiling, so you will not be able to be talking until you get to where you are going. What will break the silence will be maybe when somebody greets you or something else. So it's usually a kind of thing that you must live to go with it. ups and downs in the marriage, and that's what makes it thick. When you finish, you forgive one another and move on. You know, there's always that the crisis that when it comes, one good thing about it is that there must be a way out. If that house is built on things of God, there must be a way out of it. And each time these problems come, don't take it to some other person. The problem to be solved is between you and your wife. Somebody must say, I'm sorry, and the other person must be able to accept that sorry and move on. Because as you see, all of us, we are not infallible. We have our weaknesses at every time of the day, but the grace of God and the power of the Holy Spirit keeps us going. So when you identify that, don't always count the mistakes of your partner in one way or the other. Yes, you could say one thing or the other, but make sure you rub it off and continue your journey. What God has put together, no man has the right to come and separate. So don't separate it. If you find yourself in a difficult situation, pray and get things sorted out. The Holy Spirit will be your guide to lead you. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Thank
Can
you so much.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, based on what Daddy has said, yes, there'll always be issues. So when there are issues in a marriage, you don't fight yourselves, you fight to resolve that issue. So a lot of times we find that we are fighting ourselves, but it shouldn't be. You should fight to resolve the issue. And no, not just we fight now, you don't talk to yourselves, you don't. So that means we're fighting ourselves. But when we fight to resolve an issue, it means we come together and say, okay, this is what happened. How should we resolve it and move forward? I think that is very helpful for a marriage. And secondly, just like Daddy have said, we should, especially for the men, there's no big deal in saying, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. Yeah, a lot of times we feel it takes away the ego of a man. To me, it doesn't. It is the show of a real man for you to be able to say, I am sorry, I made a mistake. So, yeah, those are the two things I wanted to add.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
All right.
men, I hope they are listening. There is no big deal in saying I'm sorry, and women don't take it for granted. It takes a man. It takes a whole lot for a man to come out and say I'm sorry. So when he says it, you should be able to accept it and appreciate, and then move on with your life. Thank you so much, daddies, for joining us. I wish you all the best. My regards to your families, and I hope you have fun today. And
Thank
always,
you so much.
God bless you and have a good evening.
Amen.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
Bye.
Daddy.
and God bless
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. Amen.
Amen.
Bye. Yeah. Bye. Take
Bye.
care.
Yes, sir.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Thank you, Mr. Femi. Thank you, Elder Paul Eze Ogurum, for joining us on the show today. I hope you've learned something on fatherhood. We are celebrating all the daddies in the world today, wherever you are, be it biological, be it stepfather, be it foster father, grandfather, whatever father that you are to someone. We are celebrating you today. And I want to also use this opportunity to celebrate my dad. I have two identities, and I've really lived under my foster parents for a long time. And I can tell you that if someone is taking care of you and providing all that you need, there is no better way to have that love of a father than to appreciate that person. So many people in my life today cannot even tell if the person that has given me the life that I live today is my biological or my foster father. And I want to use this day to celebrate him. He's my hero. He's my best friend. He's my first love. He's done a lot for me in this life, and I don't know how to pay back, but I will just say thank you so much, Barrister Imal Alunjoku. I love you to the moon and beyond. You have been an amazing father, the father that was not there. You filled in the gap, and it has been lovely having you as a father, and I really appreciate you, and I promise to make you proud at last. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless all the fathers around the world. And all those who are expecting to become fathers soon, God will do it for all of you. And on this note, I want to say this is it on the program today, Discussion Corner with Favor. See you on Thursday on our next edition. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.